today we're just going to do some examples of PEMDAS problems that use absolute value bars as well. All right, so if we think back to our order, we always have to circle whatever math is inside the grouping symbol. So we're going to circle -2 plus 7, and that's the math we're going to do first. When I do that, I'll get 5, and then all this stuff we didn't circle comes along for the ride. We just copy it down again. Then we need to circle the bars this time. Notice we didn't circle them last time. Now we're going to actually circle the bars, and we're going to ask ourselves, what is the distance from 0 to 5? And that's just 5. And then everything else we copy. Now I had to change my bars into parentheses because there was nothing separating the 5 from the 3. Otherwise, I want to draw in those parentheses. There's nothing else to do inside the parentheses, so I move on to exponents. 5 to the second power is 25. And then I copy everything else. Again, I still need these parentheses because there's nothing to separate the 25 from the 3. Multiplication comes before addition, so we're going to circle 3 times 25, and that's 75. And then we add our 10, and we get 85. In our next example, again, we're going to circle the math that's inside the parentheses. So -3 plus 1 is our first step. That's going to get us -2. Everything else that I didn't circle has to be copied down. I kept the parentheses around the -2 because anytime we have a negative number with an exponent, it's good to have parentheses around it. So I didn't drop them just yet. Then I'm going to tackle my exponents. And it doesn't matter if it says -2 or 2. Anytime you square something, you'll get a positive. So that will become +4. And everything else gets copied down. And everything else gets copied down. My operations remaining are subtract, times, and divide. Times comes before subtract, and it's closer to the left. So 4 times 8 is what I'll circle. Notice I did not circle the minus sign because you only get to circle 2 numbers and 1 operation. So you already circled times, you cannot circle minus. That becomes 32, and I copy. Division comes before subtraction, so again, I'm not circling the minus and the 32. I already have an operation, so I'm leaving the minus out. That is 16, and then I copy. So my final answer is going to be -12. Our next problem has a fraction bar, but that's okay. It doesn't mean that's going to be harder or anything like that. So again, I just choose, do I want to start with the top or the bottom, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to circle what's inside the bars on the top. When I do -7 minus 3, I get -10. And then I have to copy my 8, my bars, my little exponent, and the bottom. The next thing I want to tackle is the bars. I need to address the fact that there's bars here. So the distance from 0 to -10 is 10. And to save on space, I'm going to also circle one thing in the bottom so that I'm kind of getting done a little quicker. So the distance would be 10, and 7 plus 3 is also 10. And then I copy everything else. I had to put parentheses around the 10 because there was nothing separating the 10 from the 8. Otherwise, I would not have drawn them. Since we have exponents on the top and the bottom, we'll go ahead and take care of both of them. 10 to the third is 1,000, and 10 squared is 100. And I have to copy the 8, and I still need my parentheses here because there's nothing separating the 1,000 from the 8, but I do not need parentheses around my 100. 8 times 1,000 is 8,000. And we don't want to forget the fraction bar means divide. So 8,000 divided by 100 is 80, and we're done. Example 4 looks a little intimidating because there's all these bars and divisions and negatives, but we'll just tackle it one step at a time. So I always want to work within the parentheses first. And in those parentheses, I want to address my bars first. So I'm going to circle the bars. The distance to -3 is 3. And I just copy everything else. Again, still have to work within the parentheses. Exponents come before division, so 6 to the second power is my next step, and that's 36. And then I copy everything else. I'm almost done with my parentheses. Now I have to do 36 divided by 3, and that's 12. And then I copy everything else. My next step is to realize I don't need the parentheses around the 12 because there's a dot right here. So the 12 and the -4, they're separated. So I can drop those. Then I need to take care of these bars. I didn't take care of those yet. So that's my next step. The distance to -4 is just 4. And then I have to copy everything else. And this is where we want to be careful. So a lot of times kids want to do 4 times 12, but it depends who's closer to the left. And division is actually closer to the left. So this guy wins today. 20 divided by 4 is my next step. That's 5. And then I copy my times 12, and my answer is 60. So in my next video, we'll go ahead and do some PEMDAS still, some absolute value still, but we're going to this time use letters and be putting stuff in for the letters.